Let's get physical, it's Jordan here, back again, the 21st until the 25th, and this might be one of the craziest weeks ever. So, without further ado, let's jump in. Ys 10 Nordics is releasing this week. It's a great game in a great week, and I'm hoping it doesn't get lost in the crowd. This follows the adventures of Adol, once again as he does what he does best, being a good boy and helping everyone. He's a great guy, just don't travel with him on a boat, okay? This is an action RPG full of exciting gameplay and a fun story. You know what you're gonna get with Falcom. There's even a bit of platforming in this one, as you swing around and have a hoverboard. I can't wait to give this a try sometime in the future. I was supposed to get a review code for this, but it must have slipped through the cracks because everyone had their reviews out last week and I was like, wait, what? When did we get codes? Never mind, it's a big week. I've got so much stuff to do, it's actually a blessing in disguise. There's so many games. And it's worth noting that this is also releasing physically on PS4 and PS5, and my executive producers, Alexander Cato, Robotech, Fawn Metal Luna, Issa, God of Resin, and Instacritic have chosen this as their pick of the week. And if you want to order this or any of the retail releases in this video, then please consider using the links below in the description and the pinned comment. That massively helps support me and this series, this channel. VGP are a really nice company with favorable prices in cheap Canadian dollars, plus they have free worldwide shipping on orders over 80 Canadian bucks, which is about 60 American dollars, as long as the order isn't too gigantic. Plus, if you do buy something with my link, then each week you will be put into a draw to have a chance of winning a $10 discount coupon. And this week's winner is Justin N. Congratulations, Justin. You should get an email from VGP if you haven't already with your discount coupon. Thank you so much for your support and everyone else out there. What else have we got this week? Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven, another big JRPG, this time from Square Enix, and it is a remake of a Super Famicom game that was very popular in Japan, selling over 1 million copies. It came out around the same time as Final Fantasy VI, which may have overshadowed it, but you know, it still sold a lot and was well loved, especially for its non-linearity, where you control different generations of emperors as you fight the eponymous Seven, who want to extract revenge on mankind. This just looks really excellent, and I'm happy Square seem to have put more effort into this, even compared to the latest brand new game in the series, Emerald Beyond, which had the budget of a non-league football team's away day transportation. You've got a scrap-worthy minibus and dodgy Pete Citron. He'll be fine as long as you don't let the younger players drive with him. Anyways, I wish I had the time for this, but you know, these days it's just harder and harder to review big JRPGs when you only have 1 week with a review code, so no opinions from me, at least not now, but I am hoping it's good. It's releasing physically also on PlayStation 5, and my executive producers Kevin W. and Lewis K. have chosen this as their pick of the week. Faith, the Unholy Trinity is an awesome looking retro-inspired horror game. It looks like it was made on the Atari 2600, but the cutscenes are rotoscoped to incredible effect. Just from screenshots, this looks like something that's easy to misjudge, but once, you know, the trailer starts going, wow, I'm very much fascinated and I want to play it myself. It has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, as you are a young priest searching for answers and battling against the demons. But there is an issue, because the game has a game-breaking bug on it, which will be on this cartridge. Now, there is a patch for it, which, you know, will download and fix it. As soon as you pop it in your Switch, you can download the update if you want it. If that's alright for you, then okay. But we do know that a second print of this will have the patch on the cartridge. That's if and when there is a new print. They said that if they do one, they will put it on the cartridge. So yeah, I mean, if no one buys these copies, that might not actually happen. So it's a weird situation. But yeah, you may want to wait. I'll be sure to announce any new print if I get wind of it with like a fully fixed cartridge, either on a community post and probably in the just announced video series. Sonic Cross Shadow Generations looks to be a really nice package for Sonic fans. Feels like almost every Sonic game is on the Switch now, This is supposedly a double pack of sorts, including the original Sonic Generations and now Shadow Generations, which I originally thought was like a bonus mode, you know, the now including the Funky Kong sort of thing, but no. Since I mentioned this on the channel when it was announced, I was told by commentators that it was definitely its own game, which is cool. So you get in a double pack. I think like 2024 is not a good time for an edgelord such as Shadow anymore, but I'm sure fans are happy. It's also releasing physically on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series in North America and Europe, but Europe is also getting a PlayStation 4 version too. Cat Quest, the Fur-tastic Trilogy, sounds great on paper. All 3 Cat Quest games in one package on one cartridge. Seems like a bunch of well-loved games all together for one reasonable price, but there was something extra knobbish about its announcement. If I remember correctly, this triple pack was announced right on the release date of the 3rd game, which also had its own physical version. So as people had their copies of 3 in the post, this triple pack was announced. Like, couldn't they have announced it earlier? That's a massive dick move. But I think it's because, you know, it's by a different publisher who wanted to take some sales away from the previous publisher, and they probably, by contract, weren't allowed to mention it until like 1 second past the release date. That's my theory, but either way, it's still terrible. Like, don't do this, don't be a dick. The Smurfs Dreams is a 3D platformer. I will have a video about this coming very late on Wednesday, I think. I think it has the exact same embargo as 3 Kingdoms 8, and guess which one I'm prioritizing. So yeah, I will have a video about this, just not on the embargo time. But I do think it's worth looking into because I let out an audible chuckle when my PR email came in saying the Mario 3D World Beta. But you know what, hyperbole aside, it's actually a pretty decent game. It's not like all-encompassing genius like a Mario game, but it is a commendable effort, I'll give them props for it. And it's from Microids, and believe it or not guys, it runs well on the Switch. I've enjoyed my couple of hours with it so far. Nice levels, some secret areas, co-op play. I haven't completed it, but I think this could be a bit of a hidden gem on the system. And it's also going to be available physically on PlayStation 5. The Bridge Curse 2, The Extrication, is the sequel to a horror game that I actually quite liked. If you remember the first game, the physical was a Play Asia exclusive, but this is a retail release in the West. From reviews I've seen, it's not as well liked as the original. It's fine, but it's more focused on the story and lore rather than the gameplay and scares. That's just what I've heard from Steam reviews though, so who knows. And it's also releasing physically on PlayStation 5. Since Memories of the Starry Sky is a fairly high-profile visual novel, the first game in the Memories of series to be localized to English officially. However, from what I've heard, it's a pretty average effort, all things considered, at least compared to the main series. I am not overly familiar with it, but I believe this is a spin-off or something set in the same universe, but not maybe directly connected. If you would like to know more about this game from someone other than a moron rambling who's swigging some beer between takes, then my man Marin, maybe you remember him, he has his own YouTube channel and he's made a video about this. You should go over there and subscribe to him for more visual novel goodness. I will try and remember to link it in the description. If I forget to link it, someone just remind me, okay? But my executive producer, Ishin, he's chosen this as his pick of the week. Tai, the Tasmanian Tiger Bush Rescue Bundle Deluxe, is the kind of bundle I can get behind. Firstly, it's Australian. I'm happy to get behind Australians. You provided Foster's Lager, which is terrible, but it was cheap as a teenager, and also made my dad drunk enough to buy me games without much question. Plus, it's 3 games in one, Tai 1, 2, and 4. I'm personally more interested in the first 2 since they're 3D action platformers, perfect PlayStation 2 fodder, but the 4th game for me is more like a bonus. That's like a 2D game, I don't really care about it that much. And all 3 games are on the cartridge, no downloads required. This is coming in a standard and a deluxe edition, and this is releasing in Europe this week. North America may have to wait a couple more weeks, but my executive producer, Alex M, he's chosen this as his pick of the week. Darkest Dungeon 2 is finally getting its physical release this week. I feel like this game should have been big enough for a day one physical, but maybe they're going for the double dipping dingleberries. Double D fans tend to be that way. This is the interesting sequel to a hardcore classic. It was less well received, mainly for doing something different rather than just expanding on the original, so your mileage may vary depending on your expectations, but I think since release people are starting to come around to it a lot more. And my executive producers Dane Wilkinson, and welcome back Jennifer M, it's their pick of the week. And also it's releasing on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series physically. Spirittea is releasing in North America this week after releasing it in Europe a couple of weeks ago. I actually didn't mention it because I thought the listing wasn't true, but it is. It's real, and it's fine because I get to talk about it now. Spirittea is a lovely looking game that seems to be a mix of a life sim if it was born from Spirited Away. There's a cozy village infested with spirits, but only you as the bathhouse manager can see them. There's some management and upgrading to do, and it looks pretty lovely all things considered. Halloween and Ash vs. Evil Dead RetroRealms double feature is an exhaustive title, but it's also a great looking double pack that contains 2 games in famous movie franchises. Action platformers that seem to have a decent amount of effort put into them. I think the biggest complaint is the price. Maybe not worth the $50 that they're asking for 2 simple platformers, but aside from those 2 simple action platformers, you get to unlock things in the museum, which will be fun for fans of the franchise, and this is also available on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Xbox, and my executive producers Cartoon Soren, Punky Dooster, and Josh Foote have chosen this as their pick of the week. Fantasy Friends Dream Worlds, I'm guessing is based on some sort of kids IP. This is not being published by Outright Games nor Game Mill. This is from the third kids IP milker, Maximum Entertainment. It's a puzzle platform game for small children, toddlers perhaps, and is releasing on Switch, but it also looks to be getting a PlayStation 5 release in Europe, which I know you're all going to run out and buy. Fabledom is finally getting its physical release this week. This is a pretty chill city builder set in a fantasy world. Looks really cozy and lovely for the autumn season, but don't expect anything like truly in-depth, since according to reviews, it doesn't quite have the legs of more serious city builders out there, but not everyone wants that. If you want 10 hours and done with charm and personality, why not? It's also releasing on PlayStation 5, and my brand new executive producer, Dave Hustwaite, has chosen this as his pick of the week. Welcome to the team. DreadOut 2 should be releasing in Europe this week on Nintendo Switch. Looks like North America may have to wait until after Halloween, which is a missed opportunity, but let's face it, the game has been out physically in Japan and Asia for a good while now, so I think most who really wanted it have it already. But I think it's an enjoyable horror game. If you enjoy Fatal Frame with even more PlayStation 2 jank, you will enjoy this like myself. I do enjoy it a lot. Orange Season is a long time coming. It's a game that's been in early access since 2017, so like 7 years development? It's even had different developers during its time trying to get it together. Seems like it's been a bit of a mess. It's got Sodesco stamped on the box, so that makes sense. But this week is when it's finally coming out of early access to be version 1.0. And to be honest, it looks really nice. Hopefully it's nice and functional on the Switch. That's the baseline request. I mean, but it's 2024. You can't always expect games to be functional on release. And it's also releasing physically on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Potionomics Masterworks Edition is releasing this week. This is not to be confused with a recent enough game called Potion Permit. Only an absolute idiot would spend 20 minutes searching the internet thinking that this game had released before. I would never do that. I'm a Switch physical expert. Anyways, this looks like a modern personality-filled game where you make potions and negotiate prices. Of course, it has deck building, or card nonsense in here too to add to the modernity. This Masterworks edition comes with a double soundtrack CD, character cards, and an art book. It's releasing also on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. Miraculous Paris Under Siege is the second Miraculous game on the Switch, and it looks like more simple action where hit detection is for cowards. I mean, it's for kids. I can't dunk on it too much. It's releasing on absolutely everything: Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, Virtual Boy. Who'd have thought that? Barbie Project Friendship is another stocking filler, hopefully the kind of stocking that you used to rob banks with. Or more likely, robbing the purses of grandmas in Walmart looking for a quick gift for their granddaughter. It's a minigame collection where you decorate your apartment and try to save Malibu or something as though it's worth saving. This is also releasing on literally everything: Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and in television. Wow, can't wait for that one. Trinity Trigger. I should quickly mention this because it is getting a new standalone release in North America this week for a budget price. Like, if you remember, upon like its initial release, you could only buy this in a slightly bloated collector's edition, which, you know, not everyone wants, like myself. I just usually want a standard edition, and this is it. If you want to pay $20 for a pretty decent game from what I've heard, it's a good time to get it. A quick mention to A Little to the Left Extra Tidy Edition, which is releasing in North America this week after releasing in Europe last week. And another quick mention, this time to Doom Anthology, which contains all the Doom games on the Switch in a nice collector's edition. But they're all just a bunch of download codes. What a waste! Alright, let's jump into the low print section. Yeah, the limited releases up for pre-order right now, or soon. Silt is a game I forgot to talk about last week. I was gonna say it slipped through the slit, but this is Silt, not Slit. I was really struggling for a joke for this section, and I was thinking something to do with a filter, like a sieve. Silt, someone work on that one for me, okay? This is from Pix N Love, which means it's likely the standard edition might be available at retail, but the limited edition, like the collector's edition, only has 300 units on Nintendo Switch and is only on their website. It includes a chunky art book, soundtrack CD, and the game itself is a monochromatic puzzle adventure game as you dive deep underwater in what I assume is a post-apocalyptic world. You take control of sea creatures to help solve puzzles and also avoid some of the more dangerous ones. It looks very atmospheric, and if you check Pix N Love's website like right now, you'll see that there's also PS4 and PS5 versions available in very limited quantities. PO'd Definitive Edition is one of limited runs releases this week, and I'm going to take it as one of their weeks off since they've had so many crazy huge announcements these past few weeks that it's hard to take them seriously as a limited indie publisher anymore. I think now we're kind of back to reality a little bit with two smaller releases. PO'd, I don't really know what that stands for. Instead of Googling it, I'm just going to go with persistently offended. I don't know. Of course, the immediate response would be pissed off, but if anyone tries to tell me that's what it stands for, I cry for the destruction of the English language. This is a boomer shooter. There are so many of these days, but unlike cozy farming life sims or roguelike deck builders, I am not tired of them. Bring them on. It looks awesome. It's on Switch and PlayStation 5. Wizardry, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, is their second game this week. Pre-orders opening on Tuesday. I think we all saw this coming, or I told you to see this coming, because this was released in Japan a couple of weeks back and is getting a retail release in Europe. The signs were that limited run were going to do it in North America. This is a remake of the first game in the series, and it's had a pretty huge quality overhaul. It looks great. Apparently, despite being a Western-made series, it's far more popular in Japan. There's a Switch version and a PlayStation 5 one too. Rabi-Ribi Platinum Edition was thought to be an import exclusive, but just as the Japanese release is coming out this week, lo and behold, a North American physical has been announced. But I'm still gonna count it as an import exclusive for the time being, since this American release is currently only available on Sekai Project's website. Therefore, I count it as a low print release and therefore still ripe for import, but we'll see how it goes if it goes anywhere else. This is a bit different to the Asian and Japanese release since it contains a soundtrack CD, trading cards, and acrylic stand. I'll talk about the Japanese release, what that contains very soon, but the game itself is supposedly very enjoyable, a fun action Metroidvania with a hint of culture about it, and it's also releasing on PlayStation 4. If you want to pre-order this North American version, head over to Sekai Project's web store. You won't get it until next year though. Alright, let's jump into the imports. Yes, Play Asia territory. If you want to pre-order any of the games in this section, please consider using the Play Asia links down below. That also helps support me very much, and I can support you too, because yeah, I can give you 5% off with my discount code Jordan24. Just remember to click the link first, okay? That's how to support me. It's also a big week in Japan. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake is the big one for me this week and maybe even this year. Oh my god. Full disclosure, I am playing this right now for a video later this week, and my productivity has plummeted. This is a remake of the game I've spent the most time with like ever. It shaped my early teens and helped lead me to my life here in China, and it's kind of surreal that this, of all the games in the series, got a remake. It feels like Koei made this just for me. Now the physical release for this is in Japan and Hong Kong, but those do not have English. However, there is a recently announced Singapore version which does have English, and I am so happy. Like Singapore, they are the absolute gangsters. I love Singapore. And I know this is a niche game, but man, this will be my most played Switch game of all time. For sure, it's a certainty. In fact, I think that was Einstein's final theory before he breathed his last breath. He scribbled in his notebook that Three Kingdoms 8 Remake will be Jordan's most played Switch game. Like, you can check his notebook, okay? The addiction is real as I try to conquer China. Despite having the same premise as the previous Three Kingdoms game on the Switch, this plays very, very differently. There's more day-to-day management, and you can control a normal general in the army, not just a ruler, so it's an incredibly versatile and replayable game. Like, you can play it any way you want. The addiction is real, and I know like about 12 people are going to import this, but I hope more do, because I would like more English Three Kingdoms games, please, physically. And my executive producer, Feig, they know what's up. It's their pick of the week. And it's also available on PlayStation 5. Yeah, that's getting a import exclusive release as well from Singapore. Card-en-Ciel. I don't know why it sounds French, so I'm going with French, okay? It's releasing this week in Japan and Asia. Both versions have English, and Mega Man Battle Network fans will definitely get a big kick out of this one. I mean, just look at it. It's Mega Man Battle Network just with swapped out characters. Would you count this as a JRPG? Let me know, because I'm in the middle of making a JRPG physicals video, so should I include this? There is no sign of a Western physical release, so it's an import exclusive with English, and it's coming in a standard edition as well as a limited edition, which includes a soundtrack CD, art book, and keychain. And my man in Japan, Vei, he's chosen this as his pick of the week. Rabi-Ribi Platinum Edition, as I previously mentioned, is releasing in Japan this week. No need to wait until next year. This does have English, and this edition is slightly different. It has a soundtrack on a USB stick. It has a cloth poster for those more, shall we say, cultured people, as well as an IC card sticker. What the hell that is, I don't know. But it's a sticker for an IC card. Internet's community card. The Asian version is cheaper than the Japanese version for some reason, but it does look like a fun, nicely cultured game. Now Japan is going absolutely nuts this week. They also have all these games as well. Zoetti, I've mentioned before when it got its release in Asia. It's an import exclusive with English, but you know, Japan is now getting it. And Japan is also getting a new collector's edition of Castle of Shikigami 2. I don't know if this version is any different since it's labeled the International Special Edition. I don't really know what that means, but whatever. They're also getting some physicals we've already got in the West, like Balatro, Outer Wilds, Gigantosaurus, and Dungeons 4, which is getting a physical release in Europe. At least it's planned to. Information is a bit scarce on it, we'll see. But I've seen listings for it like for November in some places. And there are also 3 other games in this list that do not have English. So it's just crazy. It's a crazy week, but we're not done yet. Oh no. Are you ready for the community spotlight? Yeah, I'm still going. Andrew R sent in this photo picking up these games. Oh my god, I've seen something shiny and glittery. Why did no one tell me the collector's edition of Renatis was all 90 90s gift shop vibe. I love it. Bomb sent in this photo, starting off their burgeoning Switch collection with 2 games, one of which is going cheap right now, one of which is the opposite of cheap. I'll let you work out which one is which. Executive producer Cartoon Soren sent in this photo showing off My Girlfriend is a Mermaid, the 5th anniversary collector's edition. This seems to have more value than what I got my missus for our 5th anniversary, but then again, she's not a mermaid. Danielle O sent in this photo showing off 9 RIP, which I made a video about at the weekend. I got a review in from Katie Pajamas, and she will be bringing all the Otomi reviews on this channel in the future, if she has time, of course. I'd love to do proper reviews more often, but you know how things are. It's not always worth the time investment, especially for niche things that I enjoy. My brand new executive producer Dave Hallworth sent in this photo, picking up a bit of primetime culture. I wonder if they're going to add Pretty Girls Collection 4. Something tells me he might. Good stuff. Dean L sent in this photo showing some inspiration from Dutch filmmakers. A very eclectic mix of games. The Nexamon collection has been going pretty cheap recently, like $20, which is insane value for 2 very well put together monster collectors. Devil Angel sent in this photo, picking up the Lara Croft collection. That is different from the Tomb Raider collection. This was recently sent out by Limited Run Games, and if you missed that, you can still grab it from Video Games Plus. They're not quite the classic Tomb Raider games, but they're still enjoyable. DSM sent in some visual novel loving, especially with the Science Adventure series there. I kind of just wish we had the original Steins Gate instead of the Frankenstein Elite version that we have. Executive producer Feig sent in this photo showing off the big collector's edition of 9 RIP, which looks really awesome. I personally have zero interest in the game, but this presentation, it almost sells me on it. Gaoban Vampire sent in this photo, picking up the strange anime cover of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, which might be the best thing about this re-release. VGP did get some stock of this, and unsurprisingly, they still have a lot left. Executive producer Instacritic sent in this photo, picking up a wealth of games, including Rocket Knight Adventures, which seems like a nice collection of games. I've only briefly played one of them, but you know, you could see the quality there. Executive producer Kevin W sent in this photo, picking up 2 import-exclusive visual novels. Both of them are very reasonably priced. I think both are less than $25 the last time I checked. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. Kiel D sent in this photo, picking up Thunder Ray, a Play Asia exclusive, which looks like a fun enough time if you enjoy the Punch-Out style gameplay, which I do. I've still yet to play this one though. Executive producer Lewis K sent in this photo, showing off the Dark Forces remastered fantastic game. Wish it was at retail. Plus Super Rare's game, which I can't remember the name of exactly since it didn't leave much of an impression on me, so I'm gonna call it Lil Gulpman. Executive producer, my brand new executive, Super Ben Julio, sent in this photo picking up the alternative cover version of The Pathless, which I think that might be the first time that I've seen that red cover. I can't even remember where it was from. Was it like a con exclusive? I don't know. You'll have to remind me on this one. Executive producer Vei, my man in Japan, sent in this photo picking up 2 import exclusives. Sunsoft is back. Thank God that's only like $20. And Recollect, which is also very reasonably priced. Japan has got really, decent good value these days thanks to the weak yen. All right, let's have a roundup. Shlomo. The Enemy Parasite. G. Bautista. Needless Dragon. Yum Yum Game Game. Yusha. Radio to Rancid. Elissa. Scumbag. Martin. Kresalak. The One. Illogical. Robin H. Kevin D. Alright, please send me your pictures on Twitter over at SoWhatAboutGame. DM me if you can. If you can't DM me on Twitter, you can use my email address, switchwatchspotlight@gmail.com. And of course, the Discord. The server link should be below in the description, where you can submit it in the submission section. Only one picture per week, okay? Special thanks, as always, to my executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Boombox, Brent McLean, Alexander Cato, JCross7776, Punky Dooster, Cartoon Soren, Robotech, Raven Knight, Fawn Metal Luna, Issa, Vey, Offone, Instacritic, Precision Plague, Alex M, Feig, Josh Foot, Ishin, Lewis K, Kevin W, Jennifer M, and my 3 new executive producers. We've got Super Ben Julio, we've got Dave Hustwaite, and Dave Horworth. We've got a double Dave. Is that a winning hand in poker? I think I've hit the jackpot. Double Daves. If you want to join them, check the Patreon links down below for the Let's Get Physical producer role. You get priority in the community spotlight, you get your pick of the week, and you get a nice tasty shout out at the end. Plus you get all the perks for my other retro channel, A Bit More Jordan. Thank you so much for your support. Plus you're watching right now. If you watched all the way through, what a legend you are as well, okay? Please leave me a hedgehog emoji in the comments in honor of Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog. Go check out some of my other stuff. I've got a lot of stuff out there, okay? It's been a busy week and I've got a lot of stuff coming as well. We've got Smurfs. We've got something coming tomorrow that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head because I always say it wrong. And we've got Romance of the Three Kingdoms coming later as well. Plus something really interesting is happening on Thursday. I've got some information. If you're a collector and you've been looking for one of the most difficult to get, Switch games, or I can't say too much, but Thursday, okay? Thursday, something pretty big is happening, okay? I'll see you guys over there. Make sure you're subscribed. Take care. Have a great day. Fantastic week, okay? Have a good life.